Welcome back, everybody. It's Rama from Junk Journal Divas. Hello, my friends. I'm so excited. I have had so much fun playing and making these tags. It's like merging two of my favorite things, Tim Holtz products with House Whimsy digitals. So I was just in my happy place making these. This is going to be for a new journal. This is the cover for the new journal. I might add something to the background here, but this is from an old book. And this is actually the front cover, and I just didn't have the heart to cover this up. So I'm gonna put this on the back. And I saved a lot of the illustrations from this book because it is very old and the pages were just coming right apart. If you watch this whole video series, you will see I didn't even have to, the pages weren't even attached to the actual covers anymore. You know, when pages get to where you bend them or try to fold it and it just cracks, it just breaks. So that's what the pages were like. And I am going to show you at the end of the video. I took some of the pages that had the illustrations and I made these little, I don't know, well, most of them can be used as journal cards, but I had to save. So for example, this is the cover page and 1899 is the date. And this book belonged to, look, copyright 1886, 1888. And this book belonged to, this says Bertha Wayman in Kansas City, and this is 1901. So I added, this was on a different piece and I just put it on here. I had to save these because this is quite special. And then some of the illustrations, and I put a little bit of crackle paint on here. That is the translucent crackle. The paste is white and the crackle paint is translucent. So I don't know if you can really see in the camera. Illustrated pages are blank on the back, so they make great journal cards. There's another one that says, "She is a little Christmas child." The crackle paint there, and I just did messy sewing around these. And then here's the last one here. So what I did for these, and I will show at the end of the video, is tracing paper. So, and you might be thinking, oh, kind of like a decoupage, I could use tissue paper, but no, it's definitely different. Tissue paper rips. So I'm going to show you at the end of the video how I did this. And this is great for those pages that are so brittle, but you hate, you know, just throwing them away. You want to do something with them. So great idea. This video is going to be just on all of the things that I did to make these tags. So I start off, I had these little branches that I wanted to make them look snowy. And so I did try a couple of different things. At first I tried the picket fence spray and it just flaked off. So I had to do gesso first, and I tried some plain white gesso, then I tried some clear gesso with, I don't know if I have enough in here for you to even see. This is white mica powder. And I just sprinkled some of that on with the clear gesso, and I also put some of it in the clear gesso. So those were the first thing I did. And then for the bases, it's watercolor paper, and it's just inexpensive watercolor paper that I got, I think at the Five Below store, Five and Below or whatever that store is. Great for things like this, not so good for actually using for watercolor because it tends to crumble up when you're painting, but it's great for this stuff. Just cut the tag shapes out, and then I used a whole bunch of different products. Tim Holtz products. Had so much fun creating the backgrounds. And then for the digitals, I don't know if I can find the part of the video where I did this, but just so you know, before I cut these out, I used frosted crystal. So when it was on a full page, I used my embossing ink dauber and just rubbed over the images and then sprinkled this stuff on the whole page, dumped off the excess, then used my heat gun. And just so you know, for this one, the frosted crystal, so it's a translucent embossing powder. It's a little bit more of a matte finish. It doesn't have that super shine to it. So I really like that for this. It's got a little bit of a rough texture. There's lots of fun things you can do with this. So I did that to these first, and then I cut them out. And then it was just a matter of putting all of these things together. I also did some keys to make little embellishments, and these are also in my shop. So here's another one. Here are two of them that I didn't use yet, but so you can see, I have these in my shop, and they come in sets. Some of them I decorated with beads, so you get one that's decorated and then some that are not decorated. And they're fun to use embossing glaze on. Now this one, the embossing, this is embossing tinsel that I use. So it's white with silvery glitter in, and I did both sides here. One thing I will say about this one, because you guys, you know I love my embossing glazes and things like this, and well, I just love all Tim Holtz mediums. Tim, if you're watching this, my dream would be to be on his design team, because oh my goodness, talk about dream job, having fun playing with different mediums. But one thing I will say about this embossing tinsel is that you have to heat it for quite a long time, a higher melting point than the regular embossing glaze. So here is the embossing tinsel snowflake. And if you can see in there, let's see, it's silver with the white. So this is a higher melting point. And then in contrast to that, the frosted crystal, which I used on my focal point, my ladies here, this one is a very low, so you really don't have to heat it long at all. Let's get started kind of looking through these. So let me see, I will start with this one. All the digitals that I used are listed in my video description, along with my Etsy shop, which is always in my video description. So I've got my keys and different things in there. But these little sayings were on little squares, and I just cut them out to put on my tags here. So you can see the backgrounds are covered up. I should have gotten good pictures of the backgrounds before I covered them all up. But I just put some different layers. There's a couple layers here of fabrics, and then I've got the embellished piece here. The tags alone, they've got lots of layers on the base there underneath the background. I also used my little sentiments. I used glossy accents. And then I also used glossy accents to add, I just put a little bit around the bottom here to put my mica flakes. And here are the mica flakes. In the secret snow kingdom where whispers softly lay. And then here, this one says snow queens and kings. So he is the king. The things that I did to prepare in advance, just getting all of my different fun things gathering up to do my layers. This is food packaging that I painted, put some mica powder on, and it does have like a glossy sort of finish to it here. You can see I used my glossy accents and some mica flakes on him. And this is some beautiful sari fabric. And then my little dangles that I used here. And then here's one I used the key on. This one says, reside the frosty monarchs in the cold light of day. here you can see I added the glossy accents right on top of the fabric for some of the mica flakes. And then this is kind of like a tulle fabric in the background that looks like it has snow on it. And I used a little embellishment piece, some of my branches, and lots of fun fibers at the top here. And then this one says, they rule this realm of wonder. So again, here I've got my embellishment with some branches. The printables actually, like this one, had beautiful antlers with flowers and things on, and it was just too much to try to fussy cut around. So I had to kind of make my own thing with some of them. Got some embellished sari silk in the background here. And then at the bottom, just some silver fabric and the same thing, my mica flakes. And then this one says, they roll with kindness in the soft wintry night. Love this lace piece in the background that I used here. And I've got my little branches, the food packaging, and mica flakes again. I gave her a little necklace. And this one is one of my favorites, I think because of these colors. Love the colors. So see, she's one that has the antlers, and I did save some of hers. And this part of the little poem says, reindeer companions with antlers adorned. This was a beautiful piece of trim that I kind of cut up and added there. And then at the bottom with my mica flakes, I love the background of this. And then this one says, a realm of magic. She was also one with antlers, and it was just, it was beautiful with flowers on, but it was just way too much to try to fussy cut. So I just gave her some branches. And then there's this one with hearts pure and light. So this little piece here was a very, very detailed, embellished piece of something. I don't know where it came from, but very heavy and beautiful. So I'm glad I finally got to use that. And this just reminded me of the Buddha. So I put this at the bottom here. It kind of reminded me of a lotus flower. One here, their kingdom hidden in an ethereal embrace. I've got to say, there's so many layers and so much texture on these that I'm sure video and pictures are just not going to do them justice. These were so much fun to make. I'm also going to put timestamps, so if you want to see a certain section, like if you just want to see how I did the backgrounds, I'm going to try to put those in the video description so that you can find those areas of the video faster and easier. So let's get started. I'm kind of just preparing some other things, some embellishments and things to go in the journal. So I'm starting off, I have these, and these are plastic, just these cheap things. They came in like a bundle. So I got some, I thought I can make them look like they have snow on them, but these are plastic, so I wasn't sure how things were going to stick on here. So I tried this one. I just put gesso on, and this one, yeah, it's flaking off. So this one I just sprayed with picket fence spray stain, and it's flaking off like snow. I don't know if you can tell here. So I'm wondering if I first put some gesso on it. I do have clear gesso also, so I might try that. And then I have these keys. How fabulous are these huge skeleton keys? So I just pulled some out of my stash. I also have these in my shop. They're authentic, well, except for this one. And this one, these are not. But all the rest of these are authentic skeleton keys, and they're rusty, and they're just, yeah, they're awesome. So I thought, let me play with these. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun with different mediums today. So I'm gonna start with these guys, then maybe go to these. Let's get started. So I'm starting here with my clear gesso, and I just put some in a little cup, and I'm adding some mica flakes. Now you can use regular gesso, you could sprinkle some glitter on, some mica powder, whatever it is that you have on hand. And I'm just kind of painting it on with my silicone spatula. And then I also sprinkle some extra stuff on top once I have the gesso on. And here I'm just using a piece of my paper to kind of get up some of that good stuff that's there. And I'm sprinkling a little bit of gold glitter on, and then I just kind of turn it around and smush them into the glitter. For the keys, I'm just using my embossing ink dauber and putting some ink on. I'm not worrying about covering all of it. And then I'm just sprinkling some of my embossing glaze on top. So here you can see I'm doing a couple at a time here. And then after I put the powder on, I just I used my pliers and picked up my keys to kind of get the excess off and put them aside. And then I dumped the excess powder back into my container. And then I put my keys back onto the plate to do my heat drying. And this is important because it helps it dry a little faster when it's on the plate. And then I just flipped the keys over and I did the same thing on the other side. And here's my finished product. And here I'm just showing quickly another way that I used my mica flakes are on these butterflies. So I just put some glossy accents and I'm painting it to kind of spread it around a little bit. And then I just get some mica flakes and sprinkle onto that area. So they look so pretty when they're dry. So here you can kind of see what they're going to look like. And now moving on to my tags. Here I'm just cutting out the bases, and I kind of made one and then I used that as a template to make the other ones. For this part, I'm using my stencil and my embossing ink dauber, and then I'm going to put some frosted crystal embossing powder on top of it. And I'm just using my paper plate again to kind of sprinkle the powder on and then dump the excess off onto the plate and then put it back into my container. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see the design on this, but the camera's just not really picking it up. And now I'm just doing the same exact process with my ink dauber and then put the frosted crystal on top. I'm just using a different stencil for these two tags. And I made a couple of them this way, and then I also wanted to try the texture paste sparkle, so that's what I do next. And this is just to kind of get a base to my tags, and then you'll see I'm going to come in with some different oxide sprays and distress sprays and have fun with color. To finish up these, I'm just going to set the frosted crystal embossing powder with my heat tool. So now I'm going to use my stencils again. I got a different one, but now I'm going to use the texture paste sparkle, and I'm just applying it with my spatula. And I've got to say, I love this stuff. Now, since I'm putting it on top of a white tag, when you spray it afterwards, once this dries, when you spray it or paint it or anything, it's kind of like a resist. So if you wipe off, it will remove any of the color that you put on top of where you have that texture paste. So this is kind of cool. And then also, if you put the texture paste on top of something that has a color, it just kind of makes the color pop a little bit more. So this is really fun to play with, and I like the sparkle too. I'm just doing the same process here. I grabbed the two stencils that kind of reminded me of a shattered glass look. So that's what I'm using here. So now I'm moving on to adding color, and I'm using my distress sprays. The thing I want to show you here is the texture paste on the left versus the frosted crystal on the right. So if you can see here, when I use my wipe and wipe the color off, the frosted crystal actually like takes the color, but the texture paste does not. It's like a resist. So now I just go, I spent so much time just playing around with color. I love doing this. So I just did lots of different layers, trying different colors, adding them together. And then towards the end, I was just using some of this spray, and then I had my dryer, and you'll see I add water. So I do the spray, I put a little bit of water just so it has movement on the tag, and use my dryer at the same time. So yeah, these were just so much fun, and I almost hated to cover them up, but they look great as their backgrounds also. And here you can see some examples of the difference between the texture paste and the frosted crystal. Now for these tags, for the one on the right, I wanted the ink to kind of go in between the cracks. So this is where I'm using my spray water bottle and then using my heat gun at the same time. So I just add little bits of color with my spray and then add water and just keep playing around with it until I'm happy with the colors. And you guys, I spent hours just playing around doing this stuff. So don't be afraid to play around with the color. If you mess it up, you can always start over again. It's really fun to just explore and see how these colors blend and move and do different things. So don't be afraid to just play around with these mediums. You can't mess up. It's all just part of the fun process and getting messy. So just have fun. And this is the part where I'm going to show you what I did with my book pages. So I have my book page on the left and my tracing paper, and I'm just adding a thin layer of glue. And then it's so easy, you guys. Then I just put my image down, make sure that's really nice and flat. I'm putting a nice even layer of glue on top of the image. And you'll see I kind of scrape off a little bit of the excess glue here because I don't want too much. It tends to make it ripple. And then after I close up my sheet, then I have my little tool here, and you can see I can scrape, and you can, I was pressing pretty hard and it does not tear. So I was very happy with the way that this turned out and excited to share with you guys. And I'm just showing you the process again here. I'm a huge book lover, and so I really like to use the pages somehow in the book if I use book covers. So I was excited to figure this out. I have done decoupage before where I would kind of take the paper and put it onto a different page and then decoupage on top of it or something like that, but I really like this to use as journal cards. So if you try this, or if there's something else that you've done that you like, please share in the comments. I'd love to hear your techniques or how this turned out for you if you tried my technique. I'm kind of laughing at myself because I was thinking, ooh, this is my favorite part. And I'm thinking, okay, you say that about everything. But I do love putting tags together. So I did all of these backgrounds. I really love the way they turned out. They're perfect, exactly what I was trying to do. And I have all of my fussy cut images from the kit. This is Frosty Monarchs. And I put some frosted crystal embossing glaze on top. So it's got that, you can't really tell. It's one of those things you gotta feel it. It's got this sort of rough texture to it. So I did that to these, and I'm excited to start assembling everything. I've got some pieces of fabric over here, embellishments. I have my trees that I did, and these turned out well, so I can just cut little snips off. I also have some packing paper that I put gesso on, and then I don't know if you can see shimmer in there. I put some mica powder on top of it. So this will be cool to add some fun texture and things. I have this gauzy fabric glue on it to make it, you know, stronger so I could cut it and do things with. Speaking of, I think I'm going to add a little gold to this. I'm so excited because this is going to be such a great journal. I felt like I had to get my classic Christmas journal done because I had so much of that stuff. So let's get some gold on here. So when I first started doing journals and things, I've never really been into crafting for holidays. I did love making gifts and things like that, but this year I'm just really, really excited about it. So let me know in the comments what you're excited about making this year. And when my girls were little, we used to always make all of our gifts for people, and I kind of miss that, but they're not interested in it anymore since they just turned 15 last week. They're over it. Okay, just get a little gold on there. Maybe I'll wipe some of this off onto my little tree branches here. So I always say that I love when I see journals that are all of these muted, earthy tones, but when I go to create, I can't stay away from color. So this kit has helped me stay in this zone. So, all right, so we've got her, and I cut out, I've got this crown for her. I don't know, I kind of like her hair too. Maybe we don't even need it. Maybe we put a little bit of some of these guys in there. Let's see. I'm gonna cut a few of these and put some gold on them. It's kind of like she's got that's her crown. I have this fabric. Oh, I've got quite a bit here. I have this one to mix around. I have a regular tulle, and I have some satin. I'm going to switch to voiceover here because I kind of got in the zone creating and forgot that I was recording. There is one thing that I will mention is that it was really difficult to use glue on this. These mediums just don't take to glue very well. So I did use a lot of double-sided sticky tape, and I also used my glue gun for some things. Thanks for watching, you guys. For my next video, I'm going to be putting together this journal, so I'm really excited for that. And let me know in the comments what you're excited about creating for the holidays.